J.K. Rowling has entered her troll era, and I am here for it, even if I slightly disagree. What's up, everybody? Tyler Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. So today I woke up and I saw a tweet immediately, and I know you're not supposed to look at your phone as soon as you wake up, but guilty.
Today is that day.
And I was looking at Twitter, and I saw that J.K. Rowling... I'm sorry, but Okay. Before we go any further, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to comment just to help me on the algorithm, but you don't know what to comment, just put a knife, because I think a couple of groups are going to come from my neck. Because what I said in the beginning is true. I do agree with J.K. Rowling for the most part, and I'm having a lot of fun with this story. But at the same time, I do slightly disagree. And it's not to the point of condemnation, so nobody get mad at me. If we're going to be friends, then I think you guys should know the way that I look at a lot of this stuff. And I definitely do understand why JK is doing everything she's doing and why she's doing it the way that she does it. And I do not at all, like I said, I do not condemn her for that at all. I just think that there's also a different way to look at it that might be helpful to some of the people at home. So here's what happened. I woke up, I immediately looked at Twitter, and I saw that J.K. Rowling had retweeted where Daily Mail Online had a post that said, J.K. Rowling is accused of cruelty as she mocks transgender football manager by comparing her to a straight, white, middle-aged bloke. And J.K. Rowling had retweeted that, but she shared it with the words, I didn't compare him to one, he is one. So I read the article, and I'll read the article to you guys and tell you what I think about the situation. But for the most part, I do understand what JK is saying. And I'll also read a couple of her tweets in response to what people were saying to her on that. Because for the most part, people are agreeing with her. And I think this is a huge lesson for the trans activists, the trans community, the LGBT activists. This is a huge lesson for everybody to learn, because J.K. Rowling started off as being very LGBT supportive and friendly, and she has been pushed to this point. And look at J.K. Rowling as a one-person representative of what activism from the LGBT community, specifically trans, is doing to society in general and is potentially at risk of doing altogether. And once that happens, if you guys think it's over now, you're really not ready for the way it's going to be when everybody takes on JK's point of view on this. So even though, like I said, I think there's another side to be brought out slightly, I'm not going to say that I think JK is wrong. And I think that she is definitely showing you guys what it's going to look like when people have had enough altogether. And what you have to remember is JK Rowling got it out the mud, as they would say. She came up the hard way. She was broke, and she made herself what she is now. And she's got fuck you money. And this is what happens when somebody has fuck you money. So let's read the story. Author J.K. Rowling has been accused of cruelty for mocking the world's first openly transgender football manager, comparing her to a straight, white, middle-aged bloke. The Harry Potter novelist replied to a post on X, formerly Twitter, from LGBTQ+ charity Pride championing Lucy Clark. The transgender referee is the first trans manager in a top 5 division of English women's football. In the post, J.K. Rowling said, when I was young, all the football managers were straight, white, mid-aged blokes. So it's fantastic to see how much things have changed. Social media users were quick to blast the author, calling the author's post cruel. Pride posted a photo of the referee with her famous pink whistle and red card, with her dark brown hair falling waves around her shoulders. They captioned the image, Lucy Clark, the world's first openly transgender referee, has made history by becoming the first trans manager in the top 5 division of English women's football. The former referee has taken over at Sutton United. Fabulous. All right, first off, can we address the fact that in England, soccer is identifying as football? Don't come after me, you guys. I know maybe football as soccer came first, then American football came along, but it's just hard for me to wrap my head around that, because in this country, that is not what football is. But let's not get sidetracked. And also, let's remember I'm gay. And, you know, I'll give it to JK. The picture of this Lucy person, she is a bit of a burly gal, a beefy woman, let's say, a husky lady. That's what we'll say. And I know some of your guys are going to come after me for that. But on both sides, I'm joking, I'm having fun. So whether you're on the left or the right and you're mad at me for what I'm doing right now, I'm just having fun. That's what it is. So back to the article. But the author was quick to mock the football fan and seemingly encouraged social media users to criticize the manager by comparing her to a bloke. Despite her cruel quip, fans of Clark were quick to defend her. Caroline Littman said, "I've not met Lucy, but my husband knows her wife. Lucy is a real person with a family and a life to live, bills to pay. What harm does her role as a football manager cause you? The team love her. Her wife and child love her. Your decision to pile on her is simply cruel." Sutton United appointed the former referee as the new manager of their women's team in January. Clark, a lifelong Sutton fan, previously became the first transgender referee in football, having officiated as high as the third tier of the women's game. But the 51-year-old was keen to embark on a new challenge in the dugout. Having formerly coached non-league men's teams in Essex, Clark is no stranger to management and has been appointed with the hope of steering Sutton clear of relegation in the London and South Regional Women's Premier Division. Proud and honored to be given the opportunity to manage such a fantastic club, hard work starts now, Clark posted on X after the appointment was confirmed at the start of the year. Sutton United have struggled this season, having only won 2 of their last 6 games and are in the relegation zone along with Forest Green Rovers, placing 23rd out of 24 in League 2. So there's the story, and let me just say this. J.K. Rowling was getting a lot of support, and I definitely do understand that because I know a lot of people are tired of this. And what I would imagine is the original poster, that LGBT London Pride or whatever it was, I would imagine that while J.K. has been having her problems with the community in general because of things that she said regarding trans and women's rights being more the driving force of what she is talking about, I would imagine that that poster probably came after her pretty heavy, just like everybody else was when it comes to the LGBT community. So JK was probably scrolling, saw that, and was like, that looks like a man to me. And I showed you guys a picture. You can't blame her for saying that. That's first off. Facts are facts. That does look like a man with a wig. So I get it. And then you add to it the fact that he has a father. She has a father. And also, he has a wife. So when you add all that up, does it not just seem like it's just a man with a wig on saying that he's transgender? And I know that some transgender people, or should I say transsexual people, on X chimed in and were like, yeah, that looks like a person doing cosplay of a trans person. So when even other trans women are like, yeah, that's not really representing us, I do get that. But the thing with JK is people have just tried to pressure her so much into saying what she's supposed to say according to them that she's just gotten like, yeah, I'm not saying any of that shit. Where maybe before I was a little more open-minded and I was a little more willing to negotiate with you or compromise. Now I'm done with all of it. A man is a man and a woman is a woman because you guys are willing to compromise. On your end, you're not willing to compromise. When we say that we want certain areas to stay designated women's spaces, and biological women is what we mean when we say that, but then you tell us we're hateful for saying that, okay, then game over. Women are women, or men are men. And that's why I understand JK just being like, yeah, I'm not doing any of that. And I think it's very clear in one of the responses she gives when somebody hit her with something that I think set her up to make my point. Exactly what I'm saying right here. Because somebody sent, we'll take care, but I think you should try to treat everyone with kindness. I guess that's taking things too far for you though. And then JK shared that and responded with, when you stop telling me to lie, I'll stop shouting the truth. And then another person sent her, your downfall is so sad. And then she responded with, you've seen nothing yet. Wait till I hit rock bottom. It's going to be spectacular. So that's her letting you know that she doesn't really care about your opinions. You're welcome to feel any way you want about what she's doing and what she's saying, but she's just going to keep doing what she's doing and keep saying what she's saying because this is what she knows to be the truth. And technically, even though you're asking for kindness, which is you asking us to go along with the new definitions of what you think it is we're supposed to say or how you think it as we're supposed to say it, you have to remember that that really is kindness when we do go along with it. Because at the end of the day, we all know that men are men and women are women. I personally have no problem calling people in the pronouns that they want to be referred to. I don't do the they and them because every they and them I've ever met, and I have had a few they, them friends, and at some point, they always gave up on it. They always were just like, yeah, I'm not that anymore. And so it's not natural for me. I'm not going to teach myself because nobody sticks to it anyway. But JK put out another tweet not too long after where she said, calling a man is not bullying or punching down. Cross-dressing straight men are currently one of the most pandered to demographics in existence, and women are under no obligation to applaud the people caricaturing us. Again, she's not wrong. Then somebody obviously being sarcastic, she's in a winky face with it, hit her with, how can you look at her and see a man? I think you need glasses. And then J.K. Rowling responds with, my rose-tinted gender goggles keep malfunctioning, and unfortunately, when I looked at the sturdy father of three, And unfortunately, when I looked at this sturdy father of three, the lens is shattered. She really does show you why she's a writer. You know, that's one thing you can say about JK, is she really does show you why she's a writer, even when she's in limited characters on Twitter. But to get to my point and what I want to tell you guys, I 100% do have JK Rowling's back, and I understand why she's doing what she's doing, because if you guys don't know my history, I've been hanging out with trans people for the last 30 years, and at a point, the community wanted to cancel me and was trying to get me in trouble and get me fired from all my gigs because of some jokes that I did, which I personally think humor is the best way to make people more at ease and win them over. And a lot of times, I'll be honest, I'll use my humor to win people over when it comes to LGBT in general. And it's not for any nefarious reasons. I have no agenda. I really just want life to be as cool as it can be for me and the people that I know and love, which in some cases do happen to be trans women and men. But the trans women and men that I've always been around have always been super cool. So I did jokes on stage and do jokes on stage that a lot of them have heard and they think are very funny, and in some cases are specifically about them. Like when it comes to this Lucy person not looking like a woman, it reminded me of a joke I have where I mentioned that some of these bitches are never going to be pretty. It's actually what we call in comedy a tag, so it's not like the joke part, but it's just like the second half to something I say. And I mentioned I have a friend named Khadijah who looks like Bernie Mac in a wig, and that's what Lucy reminds me of. Obviously not Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac was a black man and Khadijah was a black trans woman. I haven't seen her in years, but Khadijah is a real person, and some people are never going to look feminine. Some people are always going to look very masculine, but that doesn't make them any less trans. But being trans doesn't make them any more woman. It is what it is. A man is a man and a woman is a woman, and I have no problem accepting that. And all the trans people I know have no problem accepting their biology either. Like if you watch Blair White or Buck Angel or Marcus Deep, those are a lot like the people that I've been hanging out with in all my years of being out. And if you watch their channels, you'll notice that Buck Angel fully acknowledges that he's a biological woman. So does Marcus Deep. Blair White fully acknowledges that she's a biological male. And for me to refer to them as him or her, depending on what they prefer, is not at all hard. Also, they present as what it is they're supposed to be, which Lucy is a mixed bag when it comes to that. But the way that I think that JK, like I said, I think she probably was more lashing out at that particular group that was tweeting it originally. They probably came for her real heavy. But the way that I think that she was a little bit in the wrong, and I don't mean, like I said, I'm not attacking them, so don't take it that way. But you know, when you're friends with somebody, you guys all know that you had a friend at some point that has said something that you thought was a little more than they needed to, and you were just like, girl, you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that like that. And that's the way you handle it. Like, it's still fun, but at the same time, you're like, all right, this didn't have to go down like that. And so that's the way I feel with JK on this one. Just because the way that was worded was that Lucy was the first transgender ever to reach that particular height as a manager for a football team. And I don't think there's anything wrong with Lucy taking that distinction and being congratulated on that distinction. We could debate all day long whether or not Lucy is an actual trans person. I just would take her at her word. I don't really care that much about that particular part of it. But if they were saying that Lucy was the first ever woman to manage that particular level of women's football team, then I could understand the backlash and being like, okay, that is definitely a man. But they didn't even use the word transgender woman. They just said transgender. And some people I know totally don't agree with transgender. But my channel isn't really for those people. I don't mind if you watch. I'm not saying that you're completely not welcomed here. But transgender people are going to exist whether you want them to or not. So it's up to everybody to learn how to manage the new world. And I think that there does need to be a lot more understanding coming from trans people and the trans activists in order to make it so that straight people can find it more palatable or be able to navigate it better or understand it better, or however you would say that. I think the onus is on the trans community and the trans activists to figure that out. But at the same time, some of the more militant straight people that want to just say that trans people shouldn't exist, there's not a lot of them, but there definitely are some of those people, and every once in a while they pop in my comments. Like, I literally had somebody ask me not too long ago in my comments, why do you call Blair White a she when she's clearly a male? And it's like, okay, well, I'm not doing that with you. Blair White's always been respectful of biological women, otherwise known as just women. Blair White doesn't push the cis title on anybody. Blair White is not under any misgivings, nor has she tried to force anybody to buy into any particular thinking. So I have dressed Blair White as she and her, just like I would any of my other trans women friends. And if you choose not to do that, you're welcome to that. But don't come over here asking me why I talk the way I talk. You worry about you. I'm not telling you how to talk. I'm not saying that you should all live the way that I want to live, but I'm saying that no matter what, whether anybody likes it or not, trans people are going to exist. That's just what it is. They're working their way into being a part of the culture, and it's a bumpy ride right now. I'll give you that. And like I said, I understand if you guys are, like, there are going to be some parameters. I do understand that fully, and I think that that's completely reasonable. But like I said, that publication didn't say that Lucy was a woman or the first woman to be doing this. And I don't even know that that distinction would be open if it was the first woman to ever get somebody to that level. But I can also see J.K. Rowling, after having some problems with that community, a lot of problems with that community, and people trying to give her address online. And as dirty as they played with J.K. Rowling, I don't blame her for anything she does. That's just being 100% honest. And I really don't think, outside of something that would truly be horrible behavior, I don't think that there's any way I could turn against J.K. Rowling, because I really do feel like her voice is that important for women. She's the only one that's really speaking up for women to that degree, outside of Posey Parker. But Posey Parker doesn't have the platform that J.K. Rowling does. J.K. Rowling has the money and the power to say whatever she needs to say, and all women have to do, which women are already doing it, not that I'm telling you what to do, but just saying. All women have to do in order to help her along is just give her undying support, as long as she doesn't do anything truly atrocious. So I think I talked myself out of disagreeing with J.K. Rowling. But I do think at the same time that maybe she should have let Lucy have her moment and not chimed in and said how things have changed. But at the same time, it was funny, it was fun. So it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. It's been Tyler Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.